This is going to be a resource on how to write a quote analysis. There are several steps that's important to follow when you are trying to explain the importance and the significance of a really important thought that you took from a text. This is kind of a how-to guide that you can use to make sure that you have all the steps in and that you can use to develop a strategy when you see this kind of an essay question. So, writing a quote analysis. The objectives are so that you understand exactly what is involved in one and you have a good analysis strategy that you can use independently and that you also can check back from time to time if you need to make sure as a checklist that you've covered everything you should be covering when you analyze a quote. So let's get started. Our quote that we're going to be working on is, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined." Those of you, since we just finished the Crucible, we're in we're reading some Thoreau and Walden Pond will recognize this quote. And the speaker is Henry David Thoreau. He's known for the Transcendentalism movement, which was kind of a movement away from conventional religious practices and beliefs, away from the Puritan literature that we just finished with Crucible. There's a picture of him. Remember, he was really walked away from society to decide and think for himself. The context, what's happening in the text when the quote's being said. So first you're going to explain how, the quote that you're analyzing, did it appear in a play? Is it a bit of dialogue or is it a philosophy? In this case, it's a connection to his ideals. And here's a good example. Then, so what? Like, why did you choose it? Why did you think it was important? Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. What made that stick out to you? What made it stick out so much that, 150 years later, it's still something that we talk about and that is well known. So first you're going to explain what it means and what does it reveal about the character, if it's in a literary piece, or the symbols or the themes, conflicts, anything about within the context of it. Why is it important? Here, because he's a philosopher and a thinker, Thoreau is reminding people that you have to make your choices and do it without looking around and do it with no regrets. He was coming from a very structured time where Puritans were telling people they had such a structured world that nobody had to decide right and wrong. It was all decided for them, and there were terrible consequences if you didn't adhere, and there was some pretty oppressive religious and society views. And acting against this philosophy, Thoreau is telling people to take an individual stance, and it's important today to think about that, I'm sure, in your own life. Interpretation is where you look at the quote, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined, and think about that, how that might apply to you in in your everyday life. You are juniors or seniors or sophomores, and you're following through on your own individual ambitions and dreams without letting people or circumstances get in your way. So then in your analysis, as you get to your conclusion, you're going to put all 5 together. And you might write a paragraph somewhat like this. Henry David Thoreau, I've identified the speaker, known as one of the founding fathers of Transcendentalism, provides some words of wisdom that serve as a reminder that one should follow their dreams without being detoured or swayed by the influence of others. So I've now explained the context where we found the quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it. Thoreau is simply reminding people to live the way in which they imagine living, that one must do so confidently with no regret. In acting confidently, one will not allow others to interfere with the goals and achievements that he has in mind for himself. When the path and the dreams are clear, do not allow others to distract you from the life that you've envisioned. And I've related it to our own lives and kind of summed up my thoughts in the concluding sentence. So to reflect on this, Do you have a plan to analyze a quote? And will I include the necessary components? You certainly can come back, see this video again, and check to make sure all 5 are covered. And ask yourself, do I need anything clarified before I begin?